Hey, I'm Josh Beavers. I teach English 3 and 4 at Lakeside Junior Senior High School in Webster Parish, Louisiana. Webster Parish is just outside of Caddo-Bossier in the northwest part of the state. Um, this video contains a Socratic seminar for English 3 students. The subject is The American Dream, Great Gatsby. As far as what happened prior to the lesson, they had 2 weeks and we focused on this. I taught them how to do a Socratic seminar. They worked in groups. They had captains who drafted their team, and they had the questions beforehand. They had all the rules. They had the rubric. They had everything they know what to do. And I really just wanted to teach them how to do a civil debate, because no one does that in America anymore. It went off extremely well. And as far as overall goals go, there are a lot of smaller goals, and they're inside the lesson plan that I've attached. But our number one goal, as far as I'm concerned, in education is to help students, become productive members of society, and being able to make a point and back it up and listen to somebody else's point and have our counter argument and be civil about it is lacking. And I think that makes people productive members of society. As far as adaptations I made, it's to support all learners in the room. I go into that in the next portion of the video when I get to the lesson plan. That's pretty much it. I enjoyed it. It was a great lesson. And please go over my lesson plan and watch the kids in action. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my lesson plan. You already have this attached to my application. This is the American Dream, Great Gatsby unit. It's a Socratic seminar. I was extremely pleased with this. The students did exceptionally well, probably one of the best I've ever seen. I've done this many times before, but they did very, very well. Students who come after them are going to have to live up to things. And this will be something that I show my students going forward of how you do things. Of course, we'll get to that to where they won't just copy it. But again, they did exceptionally well. All right, now as far as the curriculum, it is Common Core. Yes, hybridized Learn Zillion. In my district, it's only 3 through 10. This is 11th grade. And so I took a Learn Zillion, put my own spin on it, and when it came out extraordinarily well. Objectives: civil debate, civil conversations. Go in, be respectful, say your point, respectfully disagree, offer other points, go ahead, move forward with it. Students today, people today, they've lost the ability to communicate with one another. Not so for this Socratic seminar. Students will continue to learn new skills, bolster existing ones, to communicate effectively and efficiently in written form. This is very important. Every day we do this. Writing is the most important thing that we can teach our kids in school, period. Because if you can communicate well in writing, it helps you communicate well in person. I tell my kids the number one rule of writing is communicate effectively and efficiently. This is what I'm going to write about. This is what I'm writing it. These are my points, etc. Don't get off on anything else. Number 2 rule of writing: evoke an emotional response. Don't be robotic. Make the people want to read it. Number 1 rule: effective and efficient communication. Number 2 rule: evoke an emotional response. Guiding questions, you can see them right here. Very important as far as backing up what you believe, backing up your statements on all of their LEAP, all of their EOCs, and the CLIP test. That's what they have to do. Here are the learning activities. You can look here. We're going to go. Not going to get into that too much, because again, you can look at it, and I have other stuff I want to do, and I don't want to take too long on this, so I can get and show you how the kids did. Here, this is everything. This is just my lesson plan. The students were extremely well prepared. Now, I don't mean prepared as far as they practiced. They didn't practice, but they knew what was coming. And you're going to see here. As far as accommodations, modifications for special educated students include assisted note-taking, detailed one-on-one instruction, extended time, etc. My remediation, my differentiation, all of the things we used, etc. My informal and formal assessments, student-generated assessments, what they turned in. All right, so here it is. This is what they got 2 weeks before. Socratic seminar questions. I told them what it was. They knew what was coming. I told them what they were supposed to do. Before we started this, we had a draft, like an NFL, NBA draft. Apologize. And I selected teammates. Now, as far as teammates, not teammates, I selected team captains. And as far as how I selected team captains, I took the top GPAs in the class. There are other things that you could gauge it by, but they were quote unquote the smartest. I wanted to, even if some of them were bookish and they didn't like to talk, I wanted to put them in a position to where they had to serve in a leadership type role. So it wasn't just football players, it wasn't just the outgoing kids, it's the team captains, etc. And I monitored them. We went to the computer lab, we used our Chromebooks, they had to answer all these questions together. How they worked together was very important. It's something that I took into consideration. They had to discuss, here is what they did, 40 points written preparation. They had to turn in every single one of their questions. Everything they did, they had to turn it in, 60 points, spoken portion. I'm going to see you how it breaks out better. If they weren't there, they had to answer 6 of the questions to receive credit for the assignment. Your answer should be 1 page in length. And I had students who didn't show up, and guess what? They turned in 6 one-page answers. That's not that much, but kids do things like that, but they didn't complain. They wanted their grades. That's good. Explains it more here, written portion, discussion points, how you're going to lose points, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have my conversation stems. Remember, this is a discussion, not a debate. How you approach people, how you respond to people. Don't just speak over them. Don't put them down. Be respectful. Be kind. This is something that we've lost in America. We don't do this anymore. It's just whoever can yell the hardest and the loudest, and that goes down to the kids. And I've seen that happen in this class before. They didn't do that when they were expected to do a different way. Preparation. You prepare kids, you tell them what's expected, they'll generally do what you need them to do. Not what you need them to do, what they need to do for themselves. All right, so here are our questions. They got all the questions ahead of time. A lot of analysis, discussion symbolism, discussing morally bankrupt practices and vices that might still pass on. Absolutely love The Great Gatsby. It is a lesson, as I said, in the do's and don'ts of life. If I could teach an entire semester on The Great Gatsby, I would, because there is so much in this 180-page book. You can do that. Questions. There are 20 of them. How does Tom represent a symbol more than a character in The Great Gatsby? Oh, I apologize. Gatsby. All right. Typo. I apologize. Compare when Nick is introduced to Tom and when Nick is introduced to Gatsby. What do Nick's first encounters with the two show about their character? How does Fitzgerald's description of Tom and Gatsby's homes and lifestyles develop an understanding of society in the 20s? Haves and have-nots. We still have this issue today. So much of what happens in Gatsby is relevant today. And I wanted them to understand that. So much symbolism, all kinds of things here. They came in, they had to answer these questions, they had to be prepared for it. You're going to see how well they did in the portion we get to in a moment. Here is their rubric. They got this. They knew what they were coming in. This is 12 points per 60 total points. And so that's it. Overall, it was I couldn't be happier. They did extremely well. I was extremely proud of them, and something to live up to for future classes. All right, now I'm going to play a video of the event, and then I'll be back to summarize.
You can do to get rich, but you always have to have a certain type of resource to do it, either brain power or muscle. But in the 20s, all you had to know was how to drive a car, and you would become rich. All you had to know was how to hold up a gun and rob, and you could become rich. Because back then, now you can't rob a bank and become rich. You'll be caught in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, I agree with Timothy, because like back in the 20s, like you had like bootlegging, because that was when Prohibition was going on. That's when Gatsby made his money. So like everybody, a bunch of people were getting rich off that. And today, now, I mean, there's still illegal stuff that goes on, and people still get rich off that. But like the poor people, like they don't have access to like much of the really gonna get a good job or a good, high paying job.
I disagree with that, because you have people like James Charles, who all he does is makeup, and he's a 20-year-old millionaire, and all he had was a couple of palettes of makeup brushes. So if anything, I'd say it's easier. It's easier to become rich than it was back then, because people back then took name and stuff like that into account, whereas you can be anybody and become rich today.
I agree with Jade, because there's so many different ways that people become famous today.
So, like Jay, you were saying there's nothing to be learned in Gatsby, right? Like there's no messages.
No, there's like a message, but I'm saying like none of the the problems aren't like like they're not solved in the novel. Like, oh, this happened and it all worked out in the end. Like everything didn't work out. Like Tom and Daisy, they ran. No one was like accounted for. Myrtle's death, nothing like that.
Well, I think it like gives you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think it gives you like I learned from what not to do, not like I learned from people's mistakes and my mistakes. So like how Daisy and Tom acted and how Gatsby obsessed over one person in his entire life. Like how that affected him and how he eventually died in the end. And he still thought, like when he died, he thought Daisy was calling.
Lewis.
I mean, I disagree that there are no life messages in it. There's like a huge one right at the end. It's like never stop chasing your dream, even if you can't grab it. You always gotta chase your dream. Because that's like, what's the point of life if you don't have a dream?
Yeah, because it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow.
I still agree with Jay because when she said they run away from their problem, because all of them at the end, all of them tried to leave New York because they thought if they left, then everything would be good.
Yeah.
Then they was away from all the riches and stuff.
Markayla.
I agree with Jade and Lewis because, yes, they ran from their problems. No one's problems were ever resolved in the book. But the whole point of The Great Gatsby was about him achieving his goal to get rich, really, to come up in life because he came from nothing. Even though he didn't get Daisy, which was another one of his goals, he still came up in life and he made something of himself.
You want to? We'll let Lewis respond.
I feel like a lot of people's problems actually did get resolved. Because Gatsby, it might not have been the way they liked it, but they did get resolved. Gatsby died, you don't have to worry about Daisy anymore. And Tom, you don't have to worry about Gatsby still. Daisy from no more, Gatsby's dead. And then Nick, he finally gets to move back east because he figured out, west because he figured out that east ain't good for him.
Okay, Shayla's had her hand up, then Tim.
Okay, I agree with what you had first said about the dream stuff, but I disagree with what you had just said because their problems did not get resolved. Think of it, some of them, even though they get resolved the way they wanted to, like, what about Tom and Daisy?
They were talking
They
about it.
no.
They were talking about it.
At the end of the book, they was on the run.
Can I say something?
They was on
It's
the
real
run.
short.
Let Andre go say one thing.
Alright, I agree with you on it because they probably did get resolved. So because all of them left and ran from their problem. So what are they gonna do when they come across another problem in another city to run again?
They're never gonna stop running.
Did Tim get a chance to talk?
No.
Go ahead.
Alright, So I'm gonna have to disagree with Jay. I'm pretty sure there's a life lesson because it definitely comes from Gatsby's point of view
I
where
didn't say there wasn't a
Go ahead.
Gatsby came up from nothing and made his riches. And then I think that it showed another part where everything can work out because Tom, smart enough, had enough money, and he used his ability to talk to fix all of his problems. And then Tom only lost one thing, which was Daisy, which he can get another one down. But he can't get another baby mama that, he's got the one,
Excellent.
and
Very
he kept her.
And I'm just going to throw this in here like, I said, Tom is a horrible person. He's a racist, he's a misogynist, he's an alcoholic, he drinks whiskey and he gets violent, but I still respect him because he was on the verge of getting beat and he said, no, I'm not going to get beat. And he didn't resort to violence. He used his brain to beat Gatsby. We're going to let Rebecca talk because Rebecca had her hand up. Yes.
I think that you can learn by seeing that none of them have like morals, and you can learn from that. I agree with Bruce because you can always try harder if you like get
Carly.
Okay, I have two things to say. One I've been wanting to say for a while. I agree with what Lewis said when he said what's the point of life if you have no goals and dreams, because we're all chasing something whether we want to admit it or not. So literally there's no point to life if there's nothing we dream of, because life would just be boring. And then back to what Jade said about Nick running away, everybody running away. Everybody solves problems differently. You know, it might not be what you would have done, but it's what they did, and that's their own. That's what they thought was right. That was what them, like them solving their own problems. That's what they want to do. That's their own mindset of what, you know, how to solve that problem.
Jordan is the last person to talk on this.
Lewis said was phenomenal. And you're wrong. Nick didn't run away from his problems.
Didn't he?
Because everybody
have no
left
problem.
and he was the only one left there. Why, and he said he hated New York.
He wasn't the
So
only
why would he
person left in
stay?
New York. Right.
Why would he stay?
Very good. Excellent. Okay, now look.
Kids did extremely well. It was an excellent lesson. It's an exemplar that I, hope that others will live up to. Definitely will keep these videos and show them to other junior classes that come through. The thing about it is that it wasn't anything super extraordinary to do. It was just a matter of teaching the kids how to do it. How do you debate civilly? How do you sit down and talk one-on-one? They don't get taught that a lot of times. They think with their hearts instead of their heads. And that's what the point was. My goals were achieved. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to doing it again. As far as things that I might do differently is I'll split it up. I'll make sure that it lasts 2 days because it was too much. I didn't get around to doing the Tim McGraw song that I liked, which was something in there that said that I tried to do it another time. Didn't get able to do it because of one reason or another. But yeah, I will stretch it out, make it longer. I really think as far as anything that I'd like for the selection panel to know, I think it's just extremely important that we think outside the box, that we pair American history with English 3, simply because they go together. And I know that there's a push from the junior high side. I would love to see it on the high school side because you're just going to help the students and you're just going to help your school. So all in all, it was great. Thank you.